Good evening. I wanted to share tonight with you something I've been working on for a while. It's for my new book called Left. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read you the 4 excerpts from it. To set up the story, one day Steve and I were on our way to Myrtle Beach, and we had to stop and get gas. And as he went inside to pay, I wondered, what would happen if I just drove off? I don't know where the thought came from, but it wouldn't let go. And we talked about it some on our trip, and again, it wouldn't let go. And so in November, I was challenged to do the NaNoWriMo, and I thought, well, let's see what happens. And so without any further ado, I'm going to read you 4 excerpts. Please let me know what you think. Thanks. Day 7. She couldn't believe she was still here. Thankfully, at this time of the year, the hotel rates were manageable, so she arranged to stay another week. Another week? As she strolled along the beach, watching the dolphins frolic from a distance, she couldn't help but wonder what he was doing now. 4:30. He's at work, too busy to give her any thought. But soon it would be time for him to clock out and go home. Would he have something healthy for supper, or would he stop at a fast food joint? Did he have clean clothes? She had done the laundry before their trip, but because he had to wear work shirts, he was probably on his last one. And the milk, bread, and eggs would have run out by now, assuming he fixed breakfast for himself. A jogger nearly ran into her and quickly apologized. Noticing the darkening of the sky, she turned around and headed back up the beach. It would soon be time to call it a day, and what did she have to show for it? Nothing. She had spent the last week basically doing nothing. No cooking, no cleaning, no laundry, no bill paying, grocery buying, and certainly not any conversing. Alone with her thoughts and trying to figure out how she could have walked away so easily. Most of her time had been spent on her balcony or on her couch playing thoughtless computer games, and on the afternoon walks where she tried to let her chaotic thoughts be chased away by the coastal breezes. Day 12. Tuesday. His night to go out with the fellas and have supper before going to the shooting range. He'd already packed his stuff up and, since he didn't need permission to go, determined he was still going to face life head on. After all, did he really have a choice? His phone calls had gone unanswered, straight to voicemail, and after the first 10 days, he stopped leaving a message. He wasn't worried about her in a general way. Tracking her whereabouts was easy. Thanks, Alexa. She was at a hotel that they hadn't stayed at before, and Bank of America was kind enough to let him know when transactions over $100 had been made. A few days ago, he had gotten the notification on his phone that she had extended her stay for another week. The neighbors didn't seem to notice her absence, which was good. It was hard enough trying to explain why there weren't any peanut butter crackers every day. She used to make him a bagful each morning, with plenty to share with the other guys. Making a joke about his diet being tightly controlled now, he brushed off their remarks without letting on in the least that he had been left. Left. Odd word. Did it mean discarded, forgotten, or done with? Finished and no longer needed? He wasn't sure, but at this point, he was tired of thinking about it. Besides, he was going to get his first real meal since the gas station incident. A 14-ounce ribeye should do the trick. Day 14. She needed to make a decision. The front desk kept calling to see if she was going to check out or be staying with them a few more days. It wasn't as though they needed her room, not at this time of the year. She glanced around the room and did a quick inventory. Originally, she had only packed for a week's stay, and while the hotel had a laundry service, it was getting cooler. She had packed for early fall and its promise of warm temperatures. However, the weather pattern shifted and a cold front had settled in. She walked over to the suitcase, still lying on the extra queen bed. They always got a room with 2 beds because she never knew if her restlessness would keep him awake at night. While she had arranged her clothing in the provided dresser, his was still in the suitcase. She picked up one of his shirts and held it to her face. She breathed in his aurora and suddenly ached for him so badly she could hardly stand. Clutching the garment, she remembered their discussion when packing for the trip. He had tried to tell her that it would be too hot and he wouldn't need this sweater. She countered with how pretty it made his eyes look, and besides, on all of their late-night walks, he'd need something to keep him warm. Grinning mischievously at her, he reached for her and drew her into an embrace. "That's what I've got you for." Shooing him off, she declared there'd be plenty of time for that while they were away. As she pulled the sweater over her head, she sighed, wishing it was his arms enfolding her instead of the lined cotton Columbia's jackets, lifeless ones. Day 15. Well, I guess that answers that. The notification came in last night from the bank. Another charge made to the hotel. Judging from the last week's amount, she had decided to make it another week without him. By now he was well aware of her habits. On Mondays, according to the bank statement, she ordered pizza from the Pizza Hut. Wednesdays she went to Publix supermarket at Village Shops at Grand Dunes. There was a trip to a nail salon, something she rarely did, but must have decided to treat herself. He recollected how once a month he used to give her a pedicure and how long had it been? He used to rub her feet weekly and lotion them and try to tickle her while she fought to not laugh out loud. She hated to lose control and felt that when he mercilessly made her squeal, that she was giving up a piece of herself that she would rather have hung on to. Other than a few other charges to places such as Krispy Kreme, he was sure she would have gotten the chocolate iced. A trip to Walmart, probably for a change or two of clothing, he thought, as he adjusted the thermostat. He knew the beach was having a cold spell and didn't remember whether or not she had packed accordingly. And the morning jaunts to Starbucks, she didn't appear to be spending much. Speaking of which, he probably should stop for a few groceries himself. The refrigerator was looking pretty sparse, and he'd run out of peanut butter and crackers. Somehow he found an odd comfort in making them for supper each evening. Alrighty, there you go. Let me know your thoughts.